Hey guys, welcome to a new video. WLED version 14 beta 4 dropped this week, and it's of course available through their website. The customized versions for the QuinLED controller, with preset pins and some compiled in user mods and things like that, should be available once this video drops. And the B4, or the beta 4, brings something very cool. You can now use one of these remotes. And it's not infrared, as you can see, but it works beautifully. We can change presets and do all kinds of things. Let's take a closer look at that in this video. Let's update a Dig-to-Go and then configure this, so it's kind of a guide on how to configure one of these. These are just available on Amazon for $415 bucks. But yeah, let's check it out. So let's first get started with a Dig-to-Go. For those who don't know, a Dig-to-Go is a very little controller I developed and sell. It's available worldwide through the AllNet store or locally in the US through Dr. Z's. There will be links in the description, of course. You can buy it bundled with a power adapter and or a LED strip, and there's an RGB and RGBW LED strip. And it's an ESP32 based controller, and that's actually important for this remote part. So let's quickly go to that part, and let's hook up the Dig-to-Go. And let's go to the web installer real quick. And if you go to my web installation page on install.quinled.info, you get to this page, and there you select the Dig-to-Go. Currently, as I'm recording this video, we're still pushing version 14 beta 2. We never did beta 3 because there was some issues with that, and so we didn't think it was production ready in that sense. Beta 4 is looking a lot better. We're waiting until the release of this video to actually change the default of the installer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to install it to this Dig-to-Go, and then we'll update that Dig-to-Go and show you how to do that. Because if you install through USB, you will lose all settings. But if you install using OTA, so an over-the-air update, now I provide binaries that you can download, which for instance have the audio reactive user mod in there and the pins pre-configured, then you can update while keeping your settings. Almost there. So, next step is let's take our phone, and let me make sure I don't have to do any passwords. No, I don't. And connect this little box here to our Wi-Fi. And let's go here. There it is. Let's connect. My phone connects automatically, but the password is WLED1234. We go to Wi-Fi settings. Since we're on 14 beta 2 now, we can hit scan. And it shows you all the networks you have. I don't have a lot because I live remote. And let me input my password here. Don't look. There. No, don't save that. Okay. And if the interface comes back, it didn't connect to the Wi-Fi correctly. And if it goes away, like it should in a second or two, it's connected correctly. There. So now it connects to my normal home Wi-Fi again, but that's the same Wi-Fi the Dig-to-Go is now connected to. So let's go to WLED native on my phone. Of course, I don't have any LEDs connected, so I can't verify if it's this one. So let's do that real quick. And I have a LED matrix here just for fun. Let's see, is it this one? Should be, I think. Things never go correctly when you're demoing on a video. Let me change the power adapter because that was computer USB. So let's go to a proper power adapter. Oh, now we also get the LEDs. Computer USB doesn't deliver that much power, so that's probably the problem. So let's see. Yeah, it's this one. But what we're going to do, we're going to note the IP. That's 1024.1.124. And I'm going to enter that in my browser. There. And now we should have the same one, yeah, over here. So we don't need the phone anymore. You know, can put it away. So we're still connected to our little Dig-to-Go box over here. Makes it very easy to hook up LEDs. There. We also have the little screen. Cool. So one of the things that has changed is that now if you look in LED preferences, and for instance, you want to select... Oh, wait, no. We're still on beta 2. We need to go to beta 4. Right. You're in your WLED controller, and you have currently beta 2, as you can see over here, and you want to update it to beta 4. You can use the normal updates from WLED that are published on the website, but the Dig-to-Go, for instance, has an integrated relay configuration, and it has a digital microphone, which needs a user mod. And the builds we provide from QuinLED have those user mods in there. So if you look over here, you currently have the audio reactive user mod. But if you install the normal version, most of the stuff will work if you manually configure it. But the user mod, of course, won't be there. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an OTA manual update. And that is from, if you go back to the, let me go, do this correctly. If you go back to the install.quinled.info website, you can go to the Dig-to-Go, and you can go to, if you wish to download a custom bin file for OTA flash, you can find them here. And there we see that we have the B2, which is currently the default for install, but it should already be changed at the time of this video, and the B4. Now let's change a setting, let's go here, let's enable the audio reactive, there, save. And in the LED preferences, let's go to 512 LEDs, because that's how many LEDs this matrix has. Save. And let's configure, I don't know, 2000 milliamps. Save. If we'd flash using USB, everything would be reset to default values, and you'd have to enter your Wi-Fi again and things like that. But if we now go to security and updates and say manual OTA, choose file, and we choose that B4 that we downloaded from the website, and then hit update. This update luckily is a lot quicker. It should remember our custom settings, our presets, and things like that. Now, if you're still on version 13, I'd urge you to update using USB and reset your settings. If you're already on version 14, generally a OTA update like we're doing right now should work fine. Let's wait for it to come back. All right, flashing is complete. So let's see if we can change the brightness to see if it's back up again. Seems so, but let's give it a little bit more power because we have more power available. So let's go to 3500, should generally be fine. We already have 512 LEDs set, so let's save that. And let's go to user mods. Seems our audio reactive is still there and enabled. Let's quickly test that. So let's go back here, go to audio reactive effects, and then noise meter. Well, okay, yeah, that seems to be working fine. Let's set it back to solid, and now let's configure this matrix before we do anything else. Let's go to configuration and then 2D configuration, and there you can specify if you have a 1D strip as it's being treated now, or you have a 2D matrix, which we will be building. We can open this matrix generator, and that's one of the things that's new. And we have two panels that are 16 by 16, and they are horizontal panels. They start at the top left, that's correct, but they are in the vertical configuration, and I want to serpentine them. It's a bit too complicated to explain, but you'll have to play around with that a little bit to get the ideal configuration for the matrix layout you have, because it depends on how you wired that up. So if you hit populate, I didn't do it correctly for me, so I have to fix this real quick. There. So my data comes in here, goes all the way here, and then comes out of the top over here, goes back in here, and goes all the way through there. And then we have 512 LEDs. That's correct. So let's save that. Let's go back. And now we should be able to use matrix effects. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. Matrix. Drift. Yeah, let's up the brightness a little bit for you. Or a DNA. Cool. Crazy bees. And I believe there's even matrix effects that have sound. Right, so now we have a graphics equalizer. Let me turn this guy off. So now you can see that it's reacting to the sound, but it's actually analyzing the sound and then displaying the bars in regards to frequency and volume and things like that. Is there anything else? Funky plank. I have no idea what that does. Okay. Anyway, let's not, go around checking too much stuff. Let's get to this remote. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a WizRemote. You can find these on Amazon, and they're based on ESP Now technology. ESP Now technology isn't infrared, so there's not an infrared sender or receiver. It doesn't need any direct line of sight, but it works on 2.4 gigahertz, just like your Wi-Fi does. It's kind of Wi-Fi, but then it's not associated and access points or anything like that. It's basically a standard expressive developed for their ESP controllers, and I at least know it works with ESP32s. It might work with ESP8266, but I don't know because I don't generally use those anymore. All my controllers are ESP32 based for many years now. So it has multiple buttons, on, off, sleep mode, preset 1, 2, 3, 4, and then higher or lower brightness. Now, the way you configure this is, again, we go to our WLED, you go to config, Wi-Fi setup, and here you need to make sure that disable Wi-Fi sleep is ticked so that Wi-Fi doesn't go to sleep. It'll use a little bit more power, but that's okay. And then we have our wireless remote here. Now, by default, it's turned off. So let's enable it. And it says enable to remote listen. What I have come to do is I hit save and connect. Then I hit a few buttons so it starts transmitting. There. That will actually change the guy here in the background because it's linked to the same remote. Anyway, we go back to our config Wi-Fi setup. And now last seen will have a number there. That is basically the address for this remote. Can't really find it on the remote itself, but okay. We copy that, we paste that, and hit save and connect. It says stuff about changed IPs, but we don't have a changed IP. That's okay. And, well, that's it. We should now be able to hit the off button, and it turns off. It also turns that one off. And we should be able to hit the on button, and there. We can make it brighter or less bright. It does it in a few steps, as you can see. And, well, we can change the presets like so. You can see the guy in the background doing that. But this one doesn't because it says preset not found. Well, that's because we just don't have any presets. So let's make a nice preset. For instance, let's do a 2D preset, right? Game of life. This error should go away at some point. So let's say this is our preset 1. Okay. And then preset 2 is matrix. Well, that's kind of boring. Metaballs. Sure. Let's make that a little bit less bright. Or more bright. More bright, yes. Okay, let's save that as preset 2. Noise 2D. Let's do an audio thingy. Swirl. Okay. Well, we can do the Akamai. Yes, we have to do the logo there. And this also has audio reactive features. Okay, let's save that again as preset number 3. And then just, I don't know, we'll do some Paletti. I always like the Paletti effect. It's awesome. Paletti in default colors. Nice. And let's save that as preset 4. So now we have 4 presets. And if we hit, let's go to the main view. Preset 1, it'll go to preset 1. It's amazing. And if we hit preset 2, it'll go to preset 2. If we hit preset 3, go to preset 4. We can dim it down. Okay, make it brighter. The night light automatically dims it down, but I don't think it automatically brings it back again. No, it doesn't. So you either have to raise the brightness again. Nope, it doesn't want to raise brightness either. You have to go to a preset there, and then you should be able to do that again. Yeah. Now it works fine. Now, as you can already see, this remote has a ID. If you have one remote, but multiple controllers you'd like to control at the same time, well, I just demonstrated how you do that. You just fill in this remote ID in all of the controllers you want to control at the same time, and then it'll control them all at the same time. It's up to you to make sure the presets are the same or however you want to configure that, but at least you can use one remote with multiple controllers. You can also have multiple controllers with multiple remotes, because each remote should come with its own ID. So then you can configure remote A to control controller A and remote B to control controller B. Right? Simple as that. And well, I think that's kind of it. I mean, there's all kinds of new improvements and performance enhancements and new effects, especially for 2D matrices and things like that. But it's really hard to kind of show you all those things, as a lot of that is under the hood, so it's not really visible like how performance improved or something like that. I hope you like the demonstration on the remote, though. I think this is a really awesome option. I used to control it just through the app and using Home Assistant, and while that works great, I can imagine, especially in standalone situations, people just want to have a simple remote. Turn it off, turn it on again, choose a preset, make it brighter. Yeah, I can fully understand people wanting that. So, if you want to check one out, I have affiliate links in the description, and you can check it out on Amazon. And if not, thanks for watching just the same. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.